everyone, welcome to Three Things Thursday. I'm Bill Bourbonnais, and today we're going to talk about what happens after April 15th. Because most people think crossing that deadline, one way or another, is the end of the story. It isn't. Whether you filed, extended, couldn't pay, or you're still figuring it out, there are three things that happen after April 15th that most people were never warned about. Let's get into them. Thing number one. April 15th is two deadlines in one. Most people going to April 15th are focused on one thing: get the return filed or get the extension in, write a check, and move on. What they miss is the same day your return is due, your first quarter estimated tax payment is also due. Same date, two separate obligations. If you're getting a refund and applying it forward to next year's taxes, that covers quarter one. But if you owe a balance on your return and you're focused entirely on that, that quarter one estimated payment can fall completely off the radar. What people miss is that filing the return feels like crossing the finish line, but it isn't. It's only half of what April 15th is asking for. Miss that quarter one estimated payment, and you already start the new tax year already behind, with underpayment penalties running from day one of the new quarter. So, April 15th is two deadlines: the return and quarter one estimated taxes, both due same day. Thing number two. There are two penalties and most people don't know the difference. If you didn't file, or you filed but didn't pay, the IRS doesn't wait. There are two distinct penalties, and understanding the difference between them is probably the most important distinction in this episode. Failure to pay. Currently, when I'm recording this, the failure to pay penalty is 1/2 of 1% per month on your unpaid balance, up to a maximum of 25%. That's the meter running on what you owe. Failure to file, if you don't file your return, is 5% per month, up to a max of 25%. That's 10 times more expensive per month than the failure to pay penalty. Now here's the mechanic that matters. When both apply in the same month, the failure to file penalty is reduced by the failure to pay amount. So instead of adding both of those on top of each other, you're capped at about 5% combined. And that failure to file maxes out in 5 months. After that, the failure to pay penalty keeps running, and interest, compounding daily, is accruing on top of everything. So the distinction that matters here: if you can't pay, file anyway. A filed return with an unpaid balance is a manageable situation. The IRS has installment agreements. Once you're on an approved payment plan, that failure to pay rate actually drops to 1/4 of 1% per month. An unfiled return with a balance due is a completely different conversation, and it's a harder one. So file even if you can't pay. The failure to file penalty is 10 times the monthly rate of the failure to pay. Don't make a bad situation worse. Thing number three. Your extension has the same teeth at October 15th. If you're filing an extension, you bought yourself some breathing room. That was the right call in a lot of situations. But here's what most people don't track. Everything that applies at April 15th applies again at the extended deadline, with the same penalties, the same interest, and the same consequences. For business owners and real estate investors with pass-through entities, there's an upstream deadline to know. S corporations and partnership returns that are on extension are due September 15th. Your personal return on extension is due October 15th. Now, if you're waiting on K-1s from a partnership or an S corp, your personal return is downstream of someone else's deadline. That sequence matters, and September 15th is closer than most people realize when they're thinking about an October 15th personal extension. And the payment deadline, that was never moved. Tax was still due on April 15th. That extension only extended the time to file. If you haven't squared the balance and you're running towards October, assuming you have until then to pay, you don't. Interest and penalties have been compounding since April 16th. October 15th has the same teeth as April 15th. So in closing, April 15th isn't the finish line it feels like. It's a double deadline. Your return and your quarter one estimated taxes both due the same day. You miss the filing, you're paying 10 times the per month penalty rate of just missing the payment. And if you're extended, the same rules are waiting for you October 15th, including interest and penalties on a balance that's been running since April. Now, if distinctions like this are helpful, Three Things Thursday drops every week. Again, I'm Bill Bourbonnais. Thanks for joining us. Hit subscribe or follow below so you don't miss the next Three Things Thursday. Have a great week and have a great life.